Since returning to the Los Angeles Lakers after being traded at the deadline for Mark Williams, Dalton has talked a couple of times about the way that he's been dealing with that situation, and he seems to have put that behind him for the most part. But since he's playing in the All-Star game this weekend and actually getting to play on Sunday, as the new format is allowing the Rising Stars team that wins their little tournament bracket, which he did, to play on Sunday against one of the big teams. I believe he'll be against the OG team today. I'm curious about that. We'll see how that goes with the new format they've got. A lot of different rules like 40-point limit, etc. But anyway, another media availability situation for Dalton, and he's talking about it here today. And I wanted to cover that. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Make sure that you subscribe here to the Basketball Bulletin, where Trevor Lane and I cover the entire NBA at large. We'll keep you guys up to date with all the trades. They've already passed, but just for future reference, all the news, buyout guys, all that stuff. So make sure you guys do stick around for more content going forward. All right. So Dave was asking him about some of this stuff, but regardless, tangents aside, highlight from Dalton Knecht's media availability at the All-Star weekend, star practice here. He says, on the rescinded trade, it's strange. I'm one of the few people that have ever been traded and then come back. So it's been a crazy journey. I'm just glad to be back and be a part of the team. I get to learn from Luka now. I had AD and LeBron, and now I'm with Luka and LeBron. So it's crazy. I get to learn from a lot of greats. So that's a positive outlook, and I'm excited to see Dalton potentially flourish here. I think that in theory he should be somebody that Luke is going to give him a ton of open looks. You know, LeBron also will do that, and all he has to do is just get the shots and knock them down, right? And he's had his ups and downs throughout his rookie season. I mean, shooting can be volatile like that. That's just the nature of it. But I think that his confidence really came back in a big way. He played pretty good in that Charlotte game as well. So hopefully, or Utah game, excuse me. Hopefully that is something that's going to stick. Like, hopefully this didn't shake his confidence and any of that stuff. I think that that's really interesting. But before we proceed, we're going to have a quick word from today's video sponsors, Prize Picks. So when you guys sign up to play, you'll get $50 off when you play your first $5 through the promo code Bulletin. Once again, Bulletin. So do that via the link down below in the description. We have the All-Star Game picks live here now. And so you know what? Where's Steph at? Because I think Steph is a safe one. Uh, I think Steph's going to come out gunning, going for that MVP hometown. So I'll take it. There he is, Wemby. So Wemby, 8 points. I think he's going to be crazy out there. I'll go more. I wonder if there's anybody I'm not expecting to go off. It's the All-Star game, but the thing is now they've got the limit to where you're scoring up to 40 points. So it's a little different than you'd expect. So maybe these numbers are pretty low. Like the Harden 3.5 is kind of low. You know what? I'll say less. I like Harden, but that one's it's so low of 3.5. Edie, I'll say more. How about that? Instead of Harden, I'll say ED. So there we go. Make sure you guys do play that. That 3-pick flex would give you guys a 45 to win off of a $20 entry. And of course, Dalton, star of today's video, more than 5.5. If you played exactly this with $20, you'd win 100. So make sure that you guys do sign up. Thank you so much for supporting the sponsors of the channel as well. All right, let's get back to the Dalton Knecht piece of it. But yeah, like I said, I do think that is a great outlook to have. You know, you're behind these guys. You get to learn from these guys. And there's even somebody that he mentions next here that's no longer on the team. But if you're a young guy in the NBA, I mean, that's the best thing you can do is just soak up all the knowledge from the vets around you, right? And try to put that into practice and become the best version of you. And I think that he's been trying to do that, which, again, is the best thing you can do. So speaking of best, on the best advice he's received in the NBA, D'Lo, he gave me the best advice right after a game. Just move on. Don't care about how you did. Just move on because you go to the next game coming. You got the next game coming towards you. No matter how high or how low that game was, you got to move on and be ready to play the next one and get better. I'll say there's been a saying for a long time that the best players have a short memory, and that's basically what that is, right? You can't really get too hung up. You can't get too high, too low on your previous performance because there's always the next game. And whether you performed amazingly, maybe you don't perform that well next time, right? Maybe you dropped 50, or you can't expect to just drop 50 again, probably the next game. Maybe you'll score 35, and maybe you missed all your shots, right? But maybe you'll make half your shots next game. Like there's always variance with everything. There's always the nature of the NBA. So with that being the case, I think that's amazing advice. I'm sure he's probably heard it before, but regardless, not to take anything away from D'Lo, that's great advice to give to a young NBA player, especially if he can put that into practice and again make himself better for it. On the new All-Star format, all of us want to be on the floor on Sunday, especially with the All-Stars. So I think whatever team wins will go out there and try to make an upset, make a statement. I think that's kind of the funny thing about this. We have Draymond on record saying that these guys don't deserve to play on Sunday with the actual like All-Star guys. And I think that's the funny part of this, because I do wonder, well, in this case, we know it's the OG team with like Steph, KD, LeBron, other guys, of course, right? I think Tatum's on that team, but whatever. There's a bunch of guys on the team. We know for a fact that like they're going to be playing them, but we've talked about how like we wonder if that's added bonus, like an added incentive. Like, hey, you don't want to get shown up by these guys, right? You don't want to get shown up by these young guys. There's no way. And maybe that's why this is here as well. Like I think they really did a good job with like incentivizing this entire tournament structure and making it to where you probably have to play better. You have to play harder. And albeit for a shorter amount of time, because it's up to 40. I mean, that's not going to be a very long game, right? And I still expect some blow-bys, your typical stuff, but I'd like to see them kick it into gear a little bit sooner than usual. Typically, these guys were waiting until the second half of the latter half of the fourth quarter to really get things going. And maybe in this game, they'll start going around 15. Like, that's okay. I can live with that, right? So we'll see what happens. But it is interesting to see these guys playing again on Sunday, while Draymond is also saying they don't deserve to play on Sunday. I think they've earned their way in the new format, but obviously, historically speaking, no, they're not there yet. And a lot of these guys probably won't even be all-stars. Who knows, right? But a lot of them will. So moving on there. On his favorite all-star memory, I would say my favorite one was the dunk that Blake Griffin did where he jumped. Never mind. Actually, I got to throw Zach LaVine in there. I think that was the best one, or was one of the best. I would do it on the dunk contest. I think probably the league would want me to do the 3-point contest. Maybe one day I'll do the dunk contest. I think I could do both. There's a lot of things in here. I'm scoring 37 points against Utah. That was a welcome to the NBA cool moment. Having crypto on their feet every time I touch the ball, that was really special. I got to say, but when he gets hot, there's not a lot. Like, shooters can get hot, but when Dalton gets hot, like, he gets scorching hot. At least that's the way it feels like to me watching him. Like, it feels like he's touching the ball and he's instantly launching it in the. It's not touching nothing but net. Like, it's just going. Like, he gets hot. So that was one of those games where he just got super duper hot. And like he was saying, the entire arena was just waiting for him to get the ball and putting it up and expecting it to go in. Like, it's crazy. On the Laker fans, the fan base has been great towards me. Before every game, I go out and sign jerseys and posters. I try to give back as much as I can to those fans. They show a lot of love towards me. And I wanted to end it there with that, because I'll say this. There's a segment of fans, and a pretty good-sized one, that never wanted Dalton to be traded in the first place. They love Dalton, all these different things. And I think that you could say the same about any rookie or upcoming player on any team, right? And to see your guys go always sucks when they're young like that. Like, a lot of Laker fans are really... like, they know they got Luka, but they're pretty bummed out about losing Max. They're bummed about losing AD too, but losing Max is a little bit different, feels a little bit different, right? Because he is a young guy, was starting to come into his own. And same with Dalton, right? So like losing Dalton also really kind of sucks. But a lot of fans have also been very happy to see him back by that same coin, because they didn't want to see him leave in the first place. They want to see him be a team lifer. They don't want to see him ever get traded, all that stuff. And I do think that while fan bases can be a bit toxic, depending on, what the circumstance is, of course, at the end of the day, it's just passion, right? It's just passion and love for the franchise you're supporting. And so in that case, I do think that piece is awesome. But once again, if you guys haven't seen the video on Mark Williams, make sure that you check it out. It should be on the screen right now. And I'll see you guys over there.